Thank you. Well, what a privilege it is to be here. I'm impressed that so many students and people of all ages turned out. So I wish so much that what you just heard were true. I mean, I actually really do. I really believe that we could wave a wand and everyone in America could have a $15 an hour wage. In fact, I wish we could wave a wand and everybody could have a $20, $25, $30, $40 wage. I want America to be the highest wage country in the world, and the truth is today we are essentially the highest wage country in the world. But that doesn't happen by the government setting wages, and it certainly doesn't happen by the government setting a minimum wage. There are benefits and costs to raising the minimum wage, and what you've just heard is some of the benefits of raising the minimum wage, but what I'd like you all to think about is at what cost. And those costs, in my opinion, as an economist, are extraordinarily considerable. So let's talk about what those are. And let me just kind of personalize this for you all in this room. Of those, because I know there are a lot of students, but there are a lot of people over that are not students. Of those over the age of 25, how many of you, your first job was a minimum wage job? Raise your hand. Almost everyone, some not, but almost everyone. Just a personal experience, my first job, I'll give away a little bit how old I am. My first job was working at a warehouse in Chicago, Illinois, where I grew up, for $2.30 an hour. $2.30 an hour. That was back in the late 1970s. But you know, I think like most of you, think about that first job. The first job that you have, that's one of the most important jobs that you're going to ever have, right? I mean, think about it. You learn all sorts of important skills that are going to stay with you for life. You learn how to show up for work, right? You learn how to treat your boss nicely. You learn how to run a cash register. You learn how it is you work in a workplace environment, something that you don't learn at school, right? You have to do it. And one of the biggest problems with the minimum wage, in my opinion, is some people are going to benefit, but what you're going to do, especially if you raise the minimum wage to $10, as the president wants to do nationally, and even crazier, in my opinion, would be to raise the wage to $15 an hour, as they want to do in some places in this great state of Washington. You're going to price people out of the labor market. And the people you are going to price out of the labor market are the people who can least afford it. You know, let me ask you another question. How many of you in this room are concerned about income inequality? How many of you think this is a big problem in America? Most of you do, maybe not all of you. Interestingly enough, when I looked at the 50 states, I have a major study coming out of this. And you all are right. You know, one of the interesting things about America is that states can set their own minimum wage, which I think is a good thing, that we have this competition among the states. And here's what's interesting. What we found is that income inequality actually is higher in states that have a higher minimum wage. Now let me say that again, because it sounds counterintuitive. The states with the highest minimum wage have more income inequality. Now, why is that? How is that possible? And the answer is because the people who get hurt by the minimum wage are the people at the bottom. So what happens to people who aren't worth $10 or $15 an hour, their minimum wage isn't $10 or $15 an hour. What's their minimum wage? Their minimum wage is zero. In fact, their wage falls from $7.50 to zero. They suffer a big loss. And when you eliminate those starter jobs, and we know the vast majority of the people who are in the minimum wage are not the heads of households. They're not people who are raising a family. Most of them are young people under the age of 25. They're starter jobs. Do not destroy those starter jobs, because you know what? If you can't get a first job, if you're priced out of the first job, you can't get the second job, and you can't get the third and fourth. We do a real disservice to the poor in this country, people in poverty, by eliminating their path to success, which is getting a job and climbing up each rung of the ladder with various kinds of job opportunities and working hard. You know, how many of you in this room that are students, how many of you are working? How many have a job? That is so important. For those of you who don't have a job, get a job. There's nothing better in college to be working. And we have 1 minute left. Do you want to add anything to that?
That's fantastic.
Were we out of time? Allison?
Oh,
Oh, Philip. Well, you know, I think of my own son, and you know, if you look at a place like Seattle where they want to raise the price to $15 an hour, you also have to look at the total cost, all those additional benefits and taxes. You're looking at a cost of about $20 an hour, and I think of my son, who's almost 16 years old. Who's going to hire a 16-year-old at a cost of $20 an hour? That is a phenomenal amount of money to pay someone, and I wouldn't hire my son, and I love him.
All right. Well, to the first question now, and it really